Hello, I'm host Eric, host of Talking with Famous People, and I am currently experiencing computerlessness. Thus, I'm waiting. And what I decided to do was to tell you a very spooky story. I'm inspired to do so by Abraham showing me the video of and telling me about how spooky it was a Disney production from a long time ago called either Dead Mouse. It's called Dead Mouse or Suicide Mouse, something like that. Well, I think it's called Dead Mouse, but the video that we were watching called it Suicide Mouse. But Abraham had originally called it Dead Mouse. Regardless, it's a black and white cartoon, old school like Riverboat Willie kind of style animation. Mickey's walking down the street. The city's very dark, gray, black and white. Um, a spooky sounding soundtrack. He keeps walking down the street. The city around him gets worse and worse. The background noises get worse and worse. Eventually, this lady starts screaming. And then Mikhail, as they called him in the pre-Mickey days, Mikhail El Mouse, he starts running and he's got this awful grin on his face. And then he gets to the end and he trips, apparently, and falls and like cracks his head open or something. I'm not sure exactly, but he's on the ground in a crumpled mass, and from what I can see, he just tripped and he dropped a whistle or something. And then a demon shows up, and for a split second, and then it's like the end. Okay, well, that was pretty spooky. That thing he showed me, but it was slow. It was really slow because it was the olden days and they didn't know how to pace things very well. Now, on the other hand, I've heard not very many spooky stories that I do find particularly spooky, and I don't know why that is, but there are some that I do find spooky. Like the spookiest thing I can think of is the video of that lady who's dead, and the videos and story of that, the true video and true story of the lady who was in the hotel and apparently was hiding from somebody and scared, started acting really erratic, and then later was found dead inside a water tank that was closed. So, I mean, the thing that made it so weird is she's in the elevator and she's pushing the buttons to go down. And it's just not, the elevator's doing nothing. The door just stays wide open. And the surveillance camera shows her and she starts to go into like this little trance or something, right? And she is behaving as though there's somebody outside the elevator door that is threatening to her. But what's weird is she peeks her head out around the corner or whatever, and then she comes back in. And again, she's pushing buttons on the elevator, but then it looks very much as though she's not doing things that make logical sense, right? So she's, at some point she pushes like the buttons in a sort of, like she's forgotten entirely about what's going on outside kind of a way that she thinks is going on outside, or what's happening out there, I don't know. So the elevator doors aren't closing, and she starts doing weird things like this kind of weird stuff with her hands, and she's obviously not herself at this moment. Now she's in the elevator up there at the top floor of this hotel. This Japanese or Chinese woman I believe, an exchange student, somebody who was utterly normally involved in the normal progression of development in the country, right? So there's nothing unusual about her. There's nothing that would suggest that she was prone to uh, these sort of episodes, as far as I'm concerned. She wasn't a drug addict or insane or anything like that. So, there she is in this elevator now. When the video starts, she's normal, apparently. And then she suddenly starts to move differently, look around, behave like somebody who's in a trance, seeing stuff that we're not seeing. And then she starts acting like there's somebody outside this elevator. Meanwhile, the elevator is by any and all measure malfunctioning. For Christ's sakes, you know. But in a way that doesn't make any sense. Why is the door not closing? Why is she looking outside the door? What's out there? And then she goes outside the elevator, walks away from the side of the surveillance camera, and then the elevator door is closed. She's found weeks later inside of a water tower. Not a water tower, a water tower cistern. And the hotel guests in this hotel have been reporting a foul taste and smell, even a black color in the water. And that's how they find her. Now, there's no video of anybody coming down that elevator from that roof. There's the water tower in question is completely inaccessible. I mean, it required two men to lift the cover off to get in there, to find her. Two strong fireman type people. And there's no sign. I mean, well, the body's so bloated at that point you can't really tell anything. But there's no other way down from there, really. I mean, there's some sort of fire escapey kind of Spider-Man-y thing you could do, I suppose. But there's no... When they look into this after the fact, there's nothing to suggest that a crime that would be anything but random would have been committed against this woman. Nothing whatsoever. So if it's a random crime, what random crime is it? There's no financial gain, so it has to be either sexual predator kind of thing or just random act of violence, perhaps. You're kind of narrowed down to those two options. They found in the cistern with her stuff, her phone, her wallet, that stuff. No robbery. They concluded it was a suicide. But how did she get into the cistern and replace the lid if it took two firemen? First of all, you had to climb up all this crap to get there. And second, that it took two strong men to take the lid off. And she's a small Asian woman. And why wouldn't the elevator door close? The only possible explanation is that somebody was outside holding the button from the outside, right? That would stop the elevator door from closing. But then we're back to the theory of the crime. What kind of a crime is this? And they ruled it a suicide. And then we get back to, why was she acting like she was seeing things that aren't there? Thanks for watching Talking with Famous People. Google it. It's interesting.